of the body, which would be your muscle tissues, copper oxide. You use zinc and copper, for example. So you can also use one reactor to control the other reactor, as we saw with the Iranian space reactor. We had this, the weaker controlling the stronger. Okay, the next example of dynamic reactors would be something that we call the starship formation, which would be something along these lines here, where we control all of these reactors and create an energy field in the center area, right in this area. Typically what we would do, we would turn these anti-clockwise, creating magnetic fields, stronger magnetic fields, and we turn this one clockwise to create the gravitational field. And that way we build this spaceship, if that was what our desire was. So when you have the 4 reactors, you connect each of them usually through the amino acids. In other words, we have an element of the amino acids in each one of these, so there's a connection. You're able to capture and hold field plasma, which then can be used as desired. Again, the field plasma is in the center area here, and energetically you can pull the fields out and do with it as you wish. You can carry all the energy strengths of every GaNs that's used in the field plasma. So if you have 4 different GaNs and 3 different balls in each of these, then all those energies are created in this center area. So it's not just one strength, it's multiple strengths. Field plasma allows you to carry a spectrum of energy in new ways. So this spectrum of energies is, if you remember his drawing of the circle going in farther and farther, the spectrum brings you closer into higher strength fields, so you can do more things with them. So some examples of this, where you might use a starship formation: if you're creating a energy spaceship, so we create strong magnetical fields here, gravitational fields here, and we build our spaceship. Just like we're building a spaceship, it could also be used for creating an environment that, like a house, for example. You can create healing energy fields by putting various healing type GaNs materials into them. And you can work with energy fields of different strength, like the strength of the soul. So now the field that you're carrying in the center is to the strength of the soul, which is where you can work in a much stronger way. And you can also put your energy field of your soul into the field of the field plasma in the center. So this is where the magic happens, is working with your soul in that energy field. Other applications based on the creator's imagination. There's a lot you can do with field plasma, and you just have to be bold enough to experiment with it. So lastly, I'd like to talk about loading your reactors. And you need to understand what it is that you're trying to do with your reactor. That's the first thing. Do you wish to create fields that radiate out, that compress in? When you compress in, you open up. So a lot of times when you open up, you that's where some of the magic happens. That's what you try to do with like your spaceship formation. So you need to understand your GANs, what GANs you're using. Is your GANs magnetical, gravitational, more gravitational, more magnetical? Usually the GANs are both magnetical and gravitational, with the propensity to be one or the other in a higher strength. So you decide what it is, what GANs you're going to use, and then what mass ratio. So for example, if you put a small amount in one ball of one material and then a larger amount of the same material in an outer ball, then the fields from the weaker will be fed by the stronger. So if you had a higher mass ratio on the outside and a lower mass ratio on the inside, there'd be a tendency to contract the fields in to feed the weaker. So again, these would be the type of reactors that we would use. Fill them with balls and just fill the GAN material in them. So that's a 3-ball configuration. This would be a 4-ball configuration, and you could have a 5-ball configuration. If you had 5 balls, you're working at soul level, and 3 balls, you're working at the physicality level. But again, it depends on what it is that you're trying to create. Creating space in the center, we always use an empty ball in the center so that the field plasma can be collected in the center area, and if we're doing it correctly, we're compressing the fields so that that center ball will open up into a ball of light, a ball of energy. That's our objective. So we're creating a space with that empty ball to hold the energy fields. And then we decide what speed we're going to rotate it. You need to have the fields moving in a certain speed based on what it is you're trying to accomplish. Too fast, and it spoils the soup, if you will, because all the material just ends up compressing to the outside edges. Too slow, and you don't get enough motion for the fields to interact correctly. So what you're creating is a connection with your multiple reactors, so they can't be just plain filled with any old thing. You have to have fields that are connected in order for them to get the maximum benefit. And usually this is through like your oxides, hydrogen, amino acids. Those are connectors. Amino acid being the connection to your body.